It's pregame. I'm about to hit the tunnel. I'm jumping up and down right now. Boom, here we go. We're running out for the big W. With me right now, Coach Craig Bohl from the NDSU Bison. Their spring game is tomorrow. Coach, it still brings back goosebumps. Doesn't every time you hear that song?
Well, you know what? It's interesting. Anybody that's played football just knows there's nothing like the feeling right before you go out there and the camaraderie you have with the other players and the adrenaline rush. And so college football is special, high school football is special. You know, our Valley, there's a lot of great football players in the Valley who appreciate it, and our fan base appreciates football as well. It'll be good to be playing again.
I'm excited for the spring game. But let's start with tonight. Tonight there's a showcase taking place at the Hilton Garden Inn, 5:30 p.m. What's that about?
Well, the doors open at 5 p.m., and it's just an opportunity for our fan base and new fans to come out and have a chance to, you know, have some social interaction with our coaches. President Bershani is going to address the group. The doors are going to open up at 5 o'clock. I believe tickets are $15. That includes your food and beverages and things of that nature. And then there's a silent auction and there's a live auction for some things. And then each one of the coaches is going to have an opportunity to speak to the group. But it's more along the lines of just a chance of some informal conversations. Many times our fans, you know, they don't have an opportunity. Either they call in on a radio show or something, but sit down over a beverage or a cup of coffee and say, hey, Coach, who's going to be your quarterback this year and why are you going to play that guy?
Do you ever have the guys that come up to you like, Coach, you know what? When I was young, we would always run this play against cover 2, and it always worked.
You know what? It's even more – I can tell you this, even more elementary than that. I had one of our diehard fans, and I appreciate him. It was the spyglass offense, and it would be diagrams and things like that. And, what's always amazing to me is a guy, they can go out and be educated, receive a PhD, and be very learned in their profession, and yet they'll come in and, you know what, they got an answer for you. You need to use your tight end a little bit more and strong, firm convictions. And thanks a lot for the advice. Appreciate it.
Yeah, there's a lot of intricacies you don't necessarily see when you're up there in the stands. But let's talk about the spring game coming up tomorrow. Spring is such an important piece for you as coaches to evaluate, but also for guys that might come out of the shadows and say, hey, Coach, I can compete, I can play. Have you had any surprises this spring?
Well, yeah, we certainly have. And what's interesting, too, is, playing a college football, you earn your spurs in the spring. That's when you have a chance to really compete. And each day, as a coaching staff, you're not trying to do, what do we got to do to get ready to beat Northern Iowa? It's what can we do fundamentally to get these guys better and evaluate each guy. And what's also interesting, within the spring game, there's always some new young rising star that not only surprises our fan base, but surprises the coaching staff. And that's always neat to see what guy's going to come out and go, okay, when the lights are on, this guy can answer the bell.
Now, does that carry a lot of weight in your eyes? 'Cause I know a lot of coaches say, hey, I want to see the full body of work. What is it, 15 practices you get now?
Yeah.
I want to see the full body of work versus, the spring game. Do you sort of evaluate over the full body, or is the spring game like, okay, like you said, lights are on, the guys showed up and played, that holds a lot of water?
You know what? I think the spring game is the thing that may separate a guy. We certainly look at the full body of work. And when we've evaluated our quarterbacks, Brent Vegan, who's our offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, he's charted every single 7-on-7 pass, every pass under pressure, pass, a scrimmage. But you know what? When you're out there in the middle of a spring game, all of a sudden the coaches aren't around to coach you in between plays. There's guys in the striped shirts that are out there. The clock's running. It's a different feel. And so a guy that at that time can really rise to the challenge, that carries a little more weight with me, I can tell you that.
Hey, if you just tuned in, you're tuned in to We the People. The NDSU spring football game is tomorrow. With me right now in studio. Thanks for coming in studio, Coach. Coach Craig Bohl. If the season started today, who would you name as your starting QB?
Well, right now, Brock Jensen is got the lead, but we've had a great deal of competition. Esley Thornton, who's from Bismarck High School, has really stepped into his own. Now, Esley's a true freshman, and Brock's had an opportunity to go through that learned year as a red shirt and run the scout team and then go out last year and play in games. And so certainly that experience has bowed in his favor. But Esley's really challenged him. And as you know, there's a Proverbs in Scripture that says, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And every day, when you go out there on that practice field, I need to be bringing my A game, because if I'm not, the next guy right down behind me is breathing down my back. And I can tell you, of all the Newt Rockne speeches that I can give, that's the best motivator I know.
The eye in the sky doesn't
Oh,
lie. is
yeah,
what
I
we
can
would
tell you
always-
played some college football. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot different than high school where it's like the eye in the sky is not on every day. Where college, you're going back through practice.
Yeah, us
and-
coaches, we've got to get the criticism. We watch every single thing. Heck, we watch them when they're out there stretching on video.
What are you planting your foot there for, Berg? Come on. Smith out of Wapaton, he was the returning punts. It sounds like you moved him out to kind of a slot wideout guy. Is he going to be sort of a Wes Walker type guy for you? Or?
Well, you know what? We feel like Ryan possesses a great deal of ability when he has a football. He's explosive. He's not real big in stature. He is real strong. And so we felt like if we could get some mismatches with Ryan, out in space with one of those guys who wears a neck collar, well, he can make a move against a linebacker and zip around him. He's got explosive speed. And so we're really trying to define a spot for Ryan on our football team. Well, he has a spot. I think we're just trying to highlight his skills a little bit more. And Ryan's been a great team player. He's played as a true freshman. Last year, our games were won in such a close manner. That field position played a big role. We were second in the country in net punting, and we did a great job in our punt return game. Well, every time the ball's that's hidden yardage, and Ryan did a super job there. We're just trying to find more places for him to have touches with the football.
Coach, I watch you and I. They play a lot of cover 4. I think if you could move Smith into, I'm just kidding.
No, you know what? I tell you what,
kidding.
you got
I
a job.
totally
You got a
kidding
job
with you.
with ESPN. I probably shouldn't say we could be one of those color analysis and out there in cover 4. You're one of these former players that got all the answers for the coach.
No,
I'm going,
I'm
hey,
just-
you know
I'm
what?
playing with
I'd
you
like
because-
to see when you were out there with your tape.
You know what? We need to get some tape out here sometime, and we'll do that because you'd be like, Berg, what were you thinking? The guy's wide open.
What's going on here?
I'm just kidding because I know people always do that to you, and I'm just having some fun. So here's